man, it's the end of the week already. This week goes so quickly. It goes by so fast.
It does.
It does. And this is the last public broadcast of Student of the Gun Radio for this week. We'll make it a good one. How's that sound? Does that work for you?
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right. I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and I am not the Paul Markle or the Professor Paul from The Legend of the Werewolf. I'm the other one. So just to clear that up, just to keep that clear. We're coming to you from the Silencer Shop Studios, home of the glass case of emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
There you go. And it's 2016, and this might be your year.
It needs to be.
You know what? Can you allow me just a quick right turn to talk about cans for a second?
Is it going to be about the question that was in the grad program?
Because
I think that's a pretty good question.
About why why should I get a 30 caliber can?
No.
Oh.
The guy asked
whether she get an AK
whether
or a
he
can?
should get an AK or a can.
Oh, okay. Well, get a can. Oh, no. All right, whatever. Then don't listen to me. Be an ask person.
Be an asshole.
Yeah, be an asshole. Yeah. No, actually, and everyone's like, and everyone's telling him not to, and I don't understand that. First of all, if you've never shot or used a suppressor or a silencer, you really are missing out. You don't really know what you're missing.
I think maybe they assumed he didn't have a rifle yet.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, I'm guessing that if you get to the point in your life that you want to buy a suppressor, you probably already have more than one firearm that you own. I'm going to say that. But regardless, let's just say that you didn't. You want to get – it's going to take you, depending on the ATF's turnaround, because we know that we're at the will of our slave masters in D.C., it's going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 months for them to turn around your lawfully filled out, your legal paperwork. Even if you do everything absolutely correct by the letter, it'll still take them 4 to 6 months to turn your paperwork around. So in that 4 to 6 months, while you're awaiting the arrival of your can, you can buy whatever you want. But what I actually wanted to talk about was purchasing suppressors. Now, obviously, right now in 2016, we're still operating under the draconian ancient rules of the 1934 Gun Control Act. And yes, it is a pain in the butt. But once you get through that pain in the butt, once you get on the other side, then it's good times, right? Well, I said that if your budget is tight and you can only afford a certain amount or a small amount, go ahead and get a 22 suppressor, a 22 silencer from someone. You go to Silencer Shop and you can shop around and see the different models that are available. A 22 can is probably going to cost you a couple of $100, okay? And you can put them on pistols and rifles. Now, the only thing is, if it's an aluminum can, they suggest that you do not shoot 22 Win Mag. For those of you, few people out there in the audience that still own 22 Win Mags, if you're going to shoot 22 Win Mag, you want a stainless suppressor. You don't want an aluminum one. But if you're going to put a can on a 22 rifle or a 22 pistol, you get an aluminum one, and aluminum body, and go from there, and you'll be good to go. Okay. And the great thing is a lot of companies now are manufacturing from the factory 22s that have 1/2x28 threading already on them. Ruger's doing a great job doing that. Smith & Wesson. SIG made a 22 adaptable pistol with a threaded barrel, but you had to get an adapter for the threaded barrel, which I've never been able to figure out why they did that, but that's SIG, and they're Europeans, and they do what they want. Now, if you have the cash and you want to put a can on a rifle, a centerfire rifle, even if the centerfire rifle is a 5.56, I said to buy a 30 caliber can. People are like, no, you don't want to do that because the hole's too big and too much gas will escape and yada, yada. Okay, we live in America, and Americans like to do what Americans want to do. Americans do what they want, right?
Yes.
Are you going to buy one can for every rifle? Or are you going to buy one can and you have 2 or 3 rifles? I don't know. Well, if you have a 5.56 AR, If you got a 6.8 SPC rifle, 6.8 SPC2 rifle, if you got a 300 Blackout rifle, if you have a Grendel rifle, if you've got the Wilson Combat 7.62x40, if you've got anything between 22 and 30 caliber, or an AK, obviously, anything at 7.62 or below, you're good to go. Even 308 as well. So think about it. I buy one can, and I can put it on an AR-10. I can put it on an AR-15. I can shoot, like I said, 6.8 out of it. I can shoot all that, 300 Blackout, all of that stuff with the one can. If you buy a dedicated 5.56 can, you're not going to be able to shoot anything but 223 and 5.56 with that can. And don't shoot 22. Actually, I've had silencer manufacturers say that one of the worst things people can do is shoot 22 LR through their big cans. And you're like, well, that's stupid, Paul. I mean, it'll eat up all the gas, and it's a 22 caliber hole. Yeah, I understand, but most 22 caliber 22 LR cans, you can take them apart and clean them, because 22 rimfire ammo is really dirty. You guys understand that, right? It's really funky, nasty, dirty. Now, 223 and 5.56, it's, depending on the manufacturer, it's cleaner or dirtier than others, but it also is super hot. Think of like a self-cleaning oven, I guess you could say. It's superheated. And so the superheated gas kind of helps to keep it clean. Whereas a 22 can or a handgun can, they don't get as hot because of the cartridge. And those, so if you ever wondered that, why is it that 22 LR and 9mm pistol cans are made to be disassembled and cleaned, and why rifle cans are not made to be disassembled and cleaned? That's part of the reasoning right there. All right. So if you're wondering, if you're out there like, I don't understand why he's telling someone to buy a 30 caliber can for an AR-15. That's just stupid, Yeah, well, if you've got lots of money and lots of paperwork and lots of time, and you're going to buy one suppressor for every rifle you own, hey, drive on. Go crazy. World's your oyster. But most people aren't in that position.
So take advantage of it. That knowledge that he just dropped on you. Take advantage of it.
All right. Let's move into, let's thank our friends at Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. And Student of the Gun Tattoo, order it from the mobile app. Bam. Brownells at brownells.com. And when you go to brownells.com and you're shopping around, you might as well just click over and buy yourself some Frog Lube. Or you can go to froglube.com and buy it, or whatever. I don't care. Just get it. And you know what else you can use Frog Lube for, Jared?
Swords.
No, well, besides swords. What were we just talking about? Oh, we just talking about suppressor medium.
Oh, suppressor, yeah.
Wet cans.
That's right.
When you purchase a suppressor, most of them in there that they say that they can be fired wet or dry. And wet means you can put any kind of liquid in it. Some people just I've actually had one can that says take a cap, like a water bottle cap of water, and pour it into your can. I've had others that people have told me to use wire lube. Some people have said to use grease, whatever. Frog Lube, I found, actually is a pretty Jim Dandy wet lubricant for cans. So there you go.
Smell minty fresh.
Smell minty fresh. All right, this comes to us from drudgetoday.com, and we posted this. Zachary posted it last week on our social media. But essentially, the title is Snowmageddon 2016. Empty store shelves as panicked shoppers ransack grocery stores. Concerned shoppers worried about spending days snowed indoors have hit grocery stores hard, leaving empty shelves in their wake. Hours before a massive snowstorm is due to slam into the northeastern United States. A few inches of snow have already piled up in Washington, D.C. Winter Storm Jonas. You remember when they used to just be called storms? Now we have to put names on every single storm. Could be historic, yada, yada, yada. And then they've got quotes from people off of social media that says, blah, blah, blah. I just went to a store. The shelves were ransacked, yada, yada, yada. And, I went to Food Giant in D.C., and there's no eggs, milk, or blah, blah, blah. The dairy case is empty. No more eggs. All that kind of stuff. And you say to yourself, what the farfignugan is up with bread, eggs, and milk, or milk and eggs, or whatever? It's because even the artard slaves in America still think of milk, bread, and eggs as staples, right? And you might be thinking to yourself, I'm going to be snowed in. Why do I need 5 gallons of milk? How much milk am I going to drink in, like, being snowed in?
Yeah.
I don't know. Water, you can drink water. But the fact of the matter is we chuckle at this because we've been telling people literally that was probably, Jared, when Charles convinced me to do paulmarkle.com,
yeah,
I think that was one of the first things that I wrote on paulmarkle.com in like 2007 was the bronze, silver, gold plan of preparedness.
Now it's on the Patriot Fire Team.
Yeah. I did that, so that was 20, so like 9, at very least, at the minimum, I've been publicly been telling people for 9 years that you need to have at least, bare minimum, 3 days worth of food, water, everything. So if you woke up and there was a mountain in front of your driveway and you couldn't go to the store or whatever, you should be able to just stay home for 3 days and have enough food and water and everything to live comfortably.
There's some disappointed people out there right now. You want to know why?
Why?
Because they just went to paulmarkle.com and realized it's not.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we migrated everything over to Student of the Gun and Patriot Fire Team. But my point is this, and over the years we've been doing that. We've been telling people you need to be ready, and we've like broken it down for you. Bronze plan, this. Silver plan, this. Gold plan, this. And, people are like, dude, I'm on the platinum plan. I'm way ahead of you. And I'm like, rock on. Good job. Go crazy. But in the interim, we've encountered people who have accused us publicly of fear-mongering. Yes, we've been accused of fear-mongering for telling people that they need to have food and water and supplies in their homes all the time. We've been accused of being paranoid conspiracy nuts because my local Walmart is open 24 hours a day, so I don't know why you think I need to keep all kinds of food in my house. We've heard the term hoarders because hoarders are bad. And hoarders take unfair advantage of the free market, and they purchase stuff and keep it in their houses so that when the idiots panic buy, the idiots who are panic buying can't find it because of all the mean, evil, nasty hoarders that over, extended period of time made sure that they had plenty of food in their house. Yeah. You smart guys out there, smart guys and gals in the Student of the Gun audience know, especially if you read the Patriot Fire Team book, that we go into that in great detail and how it's not a weird paranoid conspiracy fantasy. It's actually the way the country was founded, the way humans have existed up until just recently. My grandmother, I make the joke that my mother and my grandmother were doomsday preppers. And they are hoarders because we had a pantry in our house and they put food in the pantry and they kept more than 1 day's worth of food in the house all the time. And you're like, what? Well, your mother was obviously a paranoid conspiracy nut. Yeah, she like thought that everyone in the house was going to want to eat every day. I know, how crazy is that? But it dumbfounds me. And I guess, Jared, are we at the point now where can we say anybody who in 2016 is panic buying food before a storm it cannot be reached? Can we say that? Can we go on record?
I would say yeah.
I mean, at this point in time in human history and American history, if you still aren't convinced that you should have food and water in your house all the time, I don't think there's any convincing you. I'll go ahead and put an asterisk on that sentence. There is one group of people that do get a pass, and it's young people. And I don't expect a 15-year-old or 14-year-old, 13-year-old to understand because, they're kids. And that's where it is your responsibility as adults. It's your responsibility as adult humans to instill survival skills in your children. Basic common sense stuff. I'm not talking about like like eating fish out of a stream, or killing a deer with a sharp rock so that you can get. No, I'm talking about basic stuff like instilling in your kids to save some money, to have food in their house. Because let's face it, your kids aren't always going to be living in your house. You don't want them to be, right? I don't want mine always to be living in my house. Some of them have already gone.
I was going to say that I was going to announce to you today on the radio that I'm going to move back in soon. So
really, good luck with that. Anyway, so when we see a story like this, the food story and the fact that, and this is something that everybody saw coming. I mean, we've seen this coming for days, and people panic bought everything in the stores. We've talked about this before, how it's pretty much accepted that your local grocery store supply chain, your Walmart, your Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, whatever it is, that there really is only about 3 days worth of food in the stores to sustain the population of the area. So if the entire population freaks out, panics, and runs to every Walmart, grocery store, whatever, and cleans off the shelves, there really is only enough for everybody for like 3 days if there's nothing at home, if their home cupboards are empty. And that's part of the problem. And the other part of the problem is, how much is being wasted or is being lost. Just do yourself a favor. Consider your situation. Take a look at the cupboards, take a look at the emergency cupboard, and be honest with yourself. And say, hey, how much do I have? How much do I need? And I'm not telling you to mortgage your house or take out loans. And for the name of all that's holy, don't use interest-bearing credit cards to buy things like food. Just buy a couple extra cans or whatever, or go online when you got super easy. Payday. You got a little bit of disposable income, go online and you buy one of those 72-hour packs of food or the 7-day packs of dried food or whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But we see it all the time. It is still amazing to me. And when you have a crisis situation, the question you need to ask yourself is, do I want to be a burden or a blessing? So there you go. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Velocity Triggers at velocitytriggers.com because they are
superior quality and value.
That's right. Check them out. If you got a black rifle, they have a trigger for you. SWAT Fuel, the SWAT Fuel promo code for this month right now as you're listening is prepared.
If you listen to this after February, then you need to use SOTG 2015.
There you go. But go to SWATfuelstore.com and check them out. And also, of course, Century Arms, they're sponsors of the Student Gun Radio program. They're also the sponsors of the mobile app. If you don't have the mobile app, I don't know what to tell you by this time. It's kind of like people that don't have food in their house, huh, Jared?
Yeah.
That's why I say amen, I shine.
A good shot, man. Thank you, Filter, for our Go Team moment. Update the song. Police. 2 concealed weapons holders killed suspect during barbershop robbery. This is not the first time a barbershop has been held up in the middle of the day.
Do barbershops apparently have a lot of cash on hand? Or?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Well, or they're in neighborhoods where these felonious vermin scumbags are. But this comes to us from WISTV.com, Channel 10, Columbia, South Carolina. And the story goes, 2 concealed carry weapons holsters were victims of an armed robbery at a Columbia barbershop who were victims of an armed robbery at a Columbia barbershop shot. I like how they put shot next to each other. shot and killed one of the suspects on Friday night. This is Friday last. The Columbia Police Department responded to an armed robbery call at Next Up Barber and Beauty on the 4400 block of blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Several people, including children, were inside the business when 2 armed men wearing masks demanded and stole money from them. 2 of the victims, with valid concealed carry weapons permits, shot at both suspects, hitting one of them. The wounded suspect ran from the barbershop and collapsed outside. He was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead by medical staff. Way to go, medical staff. Good job. CPD is investigating how the second suspect escaped from the scene and whether or not he's suffering from injuries. The victims were not physically injured. Now, Jared, this has to be a lie. Because according to, who's that douche nozzle?
He goes back to it, yeah.
According to, was it Jeff?
James?
James Hatch.
Yeah.
Good guys there's this thing called the myth of the good guy with a gun. And armed good guys don't help. As a matter of fact, according to James Hatch, if you have armed good guys on the scene, more people are going to be injured than there would otherwise. So remember that. This obviously the entire CPD, the South Carolina Columbia Police Department, is in on this conspiracy. They're in on this propaganda. It's all a lie, and it didn't happen. Good people didn't shoot bad people, and the good people. Well, you know what? Maybe the guys. You know what? I know what it is, Jared. The 2 licensed concealed carry holders were special forces operators.
Oh, okay.
Because they're not weekend shooters. Because we know, according to James Hatch, that weekend shooters are dangerous, and they're more dangerous than they're worth. So there's that. Now, I wanted to read this story because at the very end here, it says authorities have not released the identity of the deceased suspect. Don't care. Worm food. Anyone with any information about this robbery turned shooting is urged to call Crime Stoppers at 888-CRIME-SC. Didn't they already call Crime Stoppers? It's like Ghostbusters. Okay. The Crime Stoppers, Jared, where were the Crime Stoppers in this story?
They were the licensed concealed carry holders.
Yeah, go all the way very back to the back. They don't need to call 888 blah, blah, blah. The Crime Stoppers, isn't it ironic that we have a dedicated phone line that essentially does nothing?
You know what's interesting?
What's that?
When you read that paragraph, it kind of made me think of something. It says, anyone with any information about this robbery turned shooting. So is this going to be chalked up under the the Brady campaign's shooting report? Is this going to be classified as a shooting?
This dead felon, they're going to classify him as a handgun violence victim. Oh, when they tell you that 3,487 people died due to handgun violence last year, this guy will be part of those statistics. The armed felon who was robbing a barbershop and children and women and stuff, yeah, he'll be lumped in with the handgun fatalities statistics. So you feel bad.
Sometimes violence is the answer. And if that so happens to be with a gun, then...
Amen. So congratulations and attaboy, go team moment to the 2 individuals here in South Carolina. Good job. Now, it is Thursday. And thank you for reminding me, Paul, that it was Thursday when you recorded this, or when you released it at very least. And that means it's time for our Student of the Gun Homeroom, brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, crossbreedholsters.com.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to the ready. It's 2012, all about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to the ready. You don't believe me, just so deep into the soul of the lion's eyes.
All right, Madison Rising. Thank you to Madison Rising for giving us the Come to the Ready song, which is our Student of the Gun Homeroom theme. And this week, one of you lunatic grad program people out there, and I don't have it open right now, but you posted a video of a new phone app. Did you see that? You saw that phone app, right, Jared?
No.
Tell me you didn't.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Where
I'm going to go look at it right now.
It's in a parking garage, and the woman... She thinks she's being stalked and followed, and she's farting around with her phone. And finally, she turns around and she points the phone at the would-be attacker and a recording comes on that says, "Stop. Your face has been recorded by Crime Safe." And I thought it was a joke, but apparently it's really serious that they're trying to get women to download a Crime Safe stopper whatever app on their phone and to convince them that that is what they need to do to stop themselves from being raped and attacked and so forth. Holy sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. I hardly have words. Well, I have words, but the words are so many to explain why that is just terrible. Just horrible. But that made me think that there are people out there that are relying still on half measures or this Legends of the Fall, or not Legends of the Fall, but this I guess regurgitated self-defense advice that has been passed down for years and years and years and years. And I came up with it was a while ago. Do you remember when I first told you this, Jared, about any self-defense tool, technique, or tactic that requires the cooperation of the attacker is inherently flawed? It's been several years. But I'm gonna go ahead and reinforce that right now to you.
You want me to play this?
I guess so. Yeah, you can play that. This is were you going to play the part that what happens when she points the camera at the bad man?
Yeah. Oh, I guess the rest of it's just music.
Yeah.
There's a dude following the chick in the parking garage.
Yeah, in the ubiquitous parking garage.
So she puts her head face into her phone.
So she looks down and lets him keep walking up behind her, because that's what you do. And it's kind of dark and it's gray, and he's closing the distance on her, but he's a tall, dark-haired white man, so that's important so that we don't seem racist. And he's just about to get her. Is he about to get her yet, Jared?
Yeah.
Stop now. I have ID'd you. Your face and location have already been recorded by the authorities. This is an official warning. Back away now, or you'll be arrested and prosecuted. This is first responder Kennedy. If you walk away now, you are free to go. If you persist, all appropriate legal actions will be taken towards you. Our system has been activated. Don't make a big mistake that could cost you the rest of your life. We will follow up, and police will be dispatched if necessary.
Sweet Buddha on a rubber raft. Does your brain hurt now?
The dude was... What happens if they grab you before you can point the camera at their face?
What happens if they have a ski mask on?
Yeah.
That recording, you know what that's exactly like, Jared? That's like out of some dystopian 1984 Orwellian future Big Brother type movie. Citizen, stop. Stop thinking. Wow. The people that make that should be brought up on criminal fraud charges. They should be brought up on charges of fraud for trying to convince women, because there are stupid women out there in the world that will buy that.
Yep.
There's stupid men out there in the world that will buy that for their college daughters. I don't know what to tell you. If you see that and think, "Oh, that's worth having on your phone," I don't even know what to say to you. It's like I need to teach you. You probably know Common Core math, don't you?
You'd be better off beating them with your phone.
Let's go ahead and go into some any self-defense tool, technique, or tactic that requires the cooperation of the antagonist or the attacker is inherently flawed. Let me explain. How many times have you heard, read, seen, stood at a gun shop or a gun show counter and listened to the expert advice of the person holding a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun? And what do? They go like, And they rack the gun. They're like, man, you don't even need to load it. Anybody come to your house, you make that noise, they're run out and peeing down their leg.
You sound like Boomhauer.
It's like, if I hear that one more time, I'm going to lose my crap. And I've been hearing that since I was a teenager and before. It's been 30 plus years since I've been hearing that crap. Hey, what if it's really noisy and the burglar doesn't notice the sound? Or doesn't, what if the burglar's not really familiar with the inner workings of the Remington 870 Mossberg 500? What if they just think that the air conditioner kicked on or something? But
we're talking about an app here. We're not talking about the.
No, I'm talking about the app is gone. I'm going to talk about that. I'm talking about any tool, technique, or tactic that requires the cooperation. My point is this: some jackhole tells you they pick up an 870 from the rack, and I guarantee you, $100 on this table, that in the United States of America this week, someone will walk into a gun store or an Academy Outdoors or whatever and say they want a gun for home defense. And some dude will walk over, pull an 870 or a 500 off the shelf and go, anybody breaks in your house, you just pump that. That's all they hear. That we're good running. That's the Joe Biden advice. I guarantee you that's going to be said this week.
I think that might be better advice than Joe Biden.
Well, the Joe Biden advice is very similar. Go out on the porch, and I told Jill, just walk out on the porch and take the shotgun and fire 2 in the air. So you're assuming that they're going to be scared by the noise and run away. Thus, that is the cooperation. Now, let's go back. Let's go to other things like, oh, man, there's so many jackhole type self-defense tools, techniques, whatever. You guys go on YouTube or what have you, and they look these techniques and these tools and all these things. They look really cool in the padded dojo room when everyone's calm and quiet, and it's like, all right, grab me with your right hand. No, grab me with your hand. No, my other hand. No, not that hand. Yeah, your other hand. Okay. And then they do the technique and walk away. Every time you encounter whatever it is, that's why pepper spray is so great. You're like, oh, derp, derp, pepper spray. I know someone. Shut up. It works. Because pepper spray does not require your cooperation to work. You're like, oh, yeah, it's a pain. No, not really. If I juice you, It doesn't require you to say, I've heard that this stuff is really bad. And I'm oh, yeah, it is. No. Jared, does it require your cooperation?
No.
Ask Zach if it does.
Good times.
Hence the difference between a handheld stun gun that you get at the kiosk at the mall and a taser. The handheld stun gun requires the cooperation of the recipient. The taser doesn't require your cooperation. It works regardless. All right, doesn't matter if you're drunk, high, stoned, retarded, doesn't matter. 99.99994% of the people that get tased are going down like a load of bricks. Okay?
I'm a pretty stocky dude, and it stopped me instantly.
Yeah. Doesn't require your cooperation at all. Now, am I saying that sometimes the bad guy will just realize, hey, I don't want to play anymore and stop? And that way the technique worked? Well, yeah. I mean, I could yell, stop! And he's like, holy crap, none of my victims have ever yelled stop at me before. This is weird territory. I'm going to go somewhere else. If I pull out a gun and I point it at a bad person and I yell stop while pointing the gun at them, and they run away, well, that worked. And you say, see? Yes. But is pointing the gun, is it that the tool, or is using it, the threat of the use of it? Well, the threat of the use of it, right. And you say, well, but yeah, most bad guys, when they see a gun, will stop. Most or all? And in our little audio thing there, it says, you will be arrested and prosecuted. I hate to break your heart there, Johnny Nimrod on the app. The guy who's about to rape this chick has been arrested and prosecuted probably 10 to 20 times before he got here. The threat of arrest and prosecution to the dude that's about to smash your head into the ground, the only people that are worried about arrest and prosecution are you, the good people with jobs and families and reputations. The guy who's going to stab you for $27 is not worried about arrest and prosecution and the full penalties of the law. You know why? Because that dude has already been involved in the full penalties of the law system. And you know what he figured out? He figured out if he gets the attorney off the back of the phone book, that dude will plead him down to the lowest possible sentence, and he will do less than 50% of the time that he was sentenced to. That's what he knows for a fact, because he's been there. Threatening someone with arrest and prosecution, threatening a rapist, oh, you better stop because you'll be arrested and prosecuted. Oh, man. Man, I was going to rape this chick. And now you're going to throw that all up in my face? Why you got to go there? Why you got to keep a brother down? Threatening me with arrest and prosecution with the fullest extent of the law. Can I say biatch? If that dude be like, biatch, I've been in San Quentin. I've been in Rikers. Really? Your phone is going to arrest me? Oh, I better run now. Every time you encounter or someone hips you to a new cool tool or tactic or technique, and you're like, oh, you do this, and then they'll go running, and you have to say to yourself, well, what if they don't go running? If your plan, it's like I'm not going to load it, I'm just going to carry it empty.
That's something that we've got a lot of new people that have the Armed Living DVD and they had the opportunity to watch it, and that's something that you cover in there. It's the 3 different types of criminals and how to deal with each different type. If you haven't got the Armed Living DVD yet, go to studentguidedgear.com and get it.
The criminals can be broken down. Felons, attackers are broken down into 3 basic categories, 1, 2, and 3. And the problem with that is you don't know what you're dealing with until they start doing what they're doing. You won't know until you successfully stop them, whether they're a 1, 2, or 3. And speaking of which, you know what's coming up, Jared? It occurred to me. This is 2016 now, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I am correct. And this is going to blow your mind. The FBI Miami shootout, you being my son are familiar with the specifics of the FBI Miami shootout.
Yeah.
Well, it happened on April 11th, 1986. The reason I remember that is because it's my brother's birthday. And this is 2016, so that means we're coming up on
20 years.
30. Math is hard.
What did you say?
86.
Oh, 86.
You thought I said 96?
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be the 30th anniversary of the FBI Miami shootout, and they were the quintessential classic, excellent example of a Type 3. People that they're just going to keep doing what they're doing until you physiologically make them stop. End of story. They're not afraid of arrest. They're not afraid of your little blue steel, shiny stainless gun, whatever. They're not afraid of noise. They're not going to stop until you make them stop. End of story. And a little app on your phone ain't going to do it. But whatever. Put your eggs in whatever basket you want to put them in. So as you progress throughout your life, remember this. Today's Student of the Gun Homeroom topic, brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, is this. Any tool, tactic, or technique for self-defense that requires the cooperation of the attacker in order to be effective or to work is inherently flawed. You might want to have a backup plan. All right, kids, that's it for this week. We will talk to you guys again on Monday. For all of you Lucky Grad Program members, we will be talking to you tomorrow, and we will have a full hour of juicy goodness for you. Jared, how are they allowed to?
I would say if you're not part of the grad program and you want to join us tomorrow, you can do that for $1 measly. Go to StephenGunnRadio.com, click on the Become a Member tab, and you get a 30-day trial for $1.
That's right. The trial is $1. All right, hippies, remember, you're a beginner once. You should indeed be a student for life.